Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Dum Yinzers, episode 205. Good morning, Michael. What's up, man?
What is happening? What is crack-a-lacking?
Oh, we got all kind of stuff, a whole bunch of stuff today,
A
man.
lot of stuff going on today.
Yes, big stories breaking as we speak. We got all kind of stuff, man.
Yes.
I want to start out, Mike. Today, I want to talk. We usually don't do this, but I'm going to talk a little high school. I'm going to talk a little high school football. There's
Yes.
something that's a bit intriguing going on this evening here in Pennsylvania. Today at 7 o'clock p.m. at Hershey Park in Hershey, Pennsylvania, you have the state championship games being played. And the one in particular that I'm talking about, Mike, is the Quad A championship between Aliquippa and Bishop McDevitt. Now, this game, Mike, it's for so many reasons it's interesting. So just give me a moment to kind of go through it. It's a rematch. These two teams played last year for the state championship, and Aliquippa won. And they are playing Bishop McDevitt once again. Now, Aliquippa, for anybody who doesn't know, it's a high school in the Western Pennsylvania area here that is extremely successful in its football program.
Oh yeah.
And you could go to all the Hall of Fame players and future Hall of Fame players that came from this school, such as Ty Law, Mike Ditka, Sean Gilbert, and guys like Darrell Revis, who's on the doorstep and could very well be in the Hall of Fame this year. And something interesting about this team, Mike, they haven't had a losing season since 1972. 50 years this football team has not had a losing season.
Not bad at all.
No.
Not bad. 50 years without a losing season.
Yeah.
I would hate to be the team that has that first losing season, but I don't see one happening anytime soon.
No, and we were mentioning some of the players, and some of these other players that are kind of like on the outskirts of Aliquippa that should get mentionable. Notice Tony Dorsett, who was a graduate of Hopewell, which is a neighboring town, but he still had an Aliquippa address. Another Hall of Famer. Paul Puz-Lusney was also from
I was just on the list. I saw Puz. Sean Gilbert,
third
overall pick.
Yeah, out of Pitt, another great football player. But Mike, the Aliquippa team, they're number one in Pennsylvania in Quad A, and Bishop McDevitt is number 2. Bishop McDevitt is 12-1 going into this game, and Aliquippa is still undefeated. They're 13-0. Now the rematch. Now Aliquippa, Mike, not only are they number 1 in the state in Quad A, they're number 2 in the whole state entirely. So apparently St. Joe's, one of them charter school over in Philadelphia, is apparently the best team in the state. However, Aliquippa, I'm sure, being the size that they are, could probably give them a run for their money. And considering the talent they have, I showed Mike a picture recently of the Aliquippa football team picture next to the Bishop McDevitt team picture. And I would say anything, if you didn't know these schools, you didn't know the situation, you didn't know the teams, you would think that this Bishop McDevitt would probably steamroll Aliquippa because they have about 600 kids in their picture. And and it's just not, you know what I mean? It's not. They look like a good squad. It's a nice mixture of kids, and I suspect it'll be a good game. Like I said, they play at 7 o'clock this evening, and everybody will be able to watch that on PCN here in Pennsylvania. That will be on TV live this evening. And also, Mike, the Aliquippa football team, there's a Western Pennsylvania part of the bracket before they get into the state brackets in high school football. It's called the WIPIAL. Western Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic League. And the Aliquippa Quips went to the WIPIAL championship game, and it's the championship game of all the teams in the West, and then the winners of that goes on to play in the last 2 state playoff games. And they have been to that game, like the championship WIPIAL game, for 15 straight years.
Like, people want to talk about the New England Patriots.
Yes.
As a dynasty that dominated for so long. I put Aliquippa up there with them. I know, it's high school football compared to the pros, but let's think about this for a second. I don't mean to, steamroll this conversation, jump in, but okay, the NFL, you're drafting the best of the best players. You're signing the best of the best free agents. You're building you have guys that Tom Brady was there for like 20 years. You can build around him, this, that, the other, all bring in key free agents, have key draft picks. Aliquippa just has the kids that live in Aliquippa.
Yeah.
This is not a private school where they're going out and recruiting. No, these are just the local community and these kids. And that to me that's one of the most impressive records. And I just want to say in any sport at any level for what
Absolutely.
people to do. And you kind of, people around here know what kind of it feels like. The Whippeal has this thing against Aliquippa. They keep moving them in classifications, giving them you have to go against bigger schools. Like Aliquippa's a small school, and they continue to dominate at every level that they play at.
Yeah, they played at level 5A last year, Mike. 5A, and they went and they won the state championship. And like Mike said, they're a very small school with just a bunch of local kids.
It felt like when you showed me that picture, it felt like they maybe had like 30, 35 kids in that picture.
Yeah.
And that's insane. And that other team had almost 80.
They look like a college, college team.
Yeah, they had you have 90 scholarship players at these colleges, and that high school had just about the same amount. And there's Aliquippa with half the amount.
It really is amazing, Mike. And being from the area, when you're growing up and you're playing Aliquippa in sports, you hate them. It's always like, when you get murdered, you're sitting there thinking of reasons, and it's like, well, the referees, the fact of the matter is they're just
better.
Good. They're just better football players,
and it kind of has a psychological effect going into the game. Remember when Cigarellos was on? He was saying they show up in their jerseys and they have that clean look. Everything is just nice and clean, and they just look like total badasses. And he's like, I have teammates going into the game. It's like, oh man, just look at them. They look like a professional team. We're screwed going into this. So they have, this everything. They have that reputation of it deservedly so, because they have been so dominant for so long.
And like I was saying, everybody, you hate this team when you're growing up. There's no chance of beating them. There's just not. You go into the game and that there's no chance. But now that we're all older, and I got to say, it's hard not to really follow them and enjoy what it is they're doing and the ride that they're on, because, like you had said, it's one of the most amazing rides and streaks in sports. 50 years. Can you find any other team on the map that hasn't had a losing season in 50 years? I don't know.
You'd be hard pressed to find one that's not a private school or a big town that you can whittle out talent. You can have cuts and tryouts.
Yeah, right. Like Mike said, you're basically just getting the kids that are available in your town, putting together a football team and going with it. So I hope, Mike, they win tonight. I will be watching.
Me too.
We got go ahead.
I was just gonna say how you said as we get older, you appreciate what they do more and more. Where I work, there's people from different school systems, people coming over from the neighboring states, and everyone knows Aliquippa. Everyone knows Aliquippa football. And even if you lose to them and you have to play against them, you just appreciate what they do, and you respect it so much, because they're to be that dominant for that long. They belong on the Mount Rushmore of sports dynasties.
They really do. I got a funny story. Do we got time? Yeah, we got time.
Oh, yeah, we got time.
It was when we were termites. It's called termites. I don't know what it's called everywhere, but you have mighty mites, termites, midgets. When your younger football programs. And I could recall, Mike, it was my very first. And when I say very first, I mean I was in 5th grade, more in that area. And it was my very first football game, and it was against Aliquippa, of course.
And even at that level, they're good.
Yeah. Oh,
they have solid squads.
let me break it down to you. They now the school I went to was a very small school as well, but we were all white kids.
And that's never a good sign for a sports team unless they're playing hockey. Let's be honest here, people.
So we go to Aliquippa. It's in Aliquippa, and they have a stadium called the Pit. Very intimidating. Any high school team that ever had a chance to play there will tell you I'd rather play anywhere else. It's very intimidating. So you're fighting that on top of playing a good football team. So we go to Aliquippa, and the team before us plays the Termites. The Termites, they got murdered. Whatever it was just disaster. And we go into the locker room. They do weigh-ins. When you're the younger ages,
Yeah.
just to make sure everybody fits
Yeah.
into the.
Yeah.
So we walk into this locker room, Mike, and I shit you not, there was 15 kids, and there was a wall that sits probably about 6 feet high on your right-hand side when you walk into the team room, and there was about 15 kids all lined across, sitting on it, watching us as we came walking in. And not only are they watching us, they're barking. There's 15 kids that we never knew. And I'm gonna be honest. In 4th, 5th grade, it was probably some of the first black kids that we seen in real life.
Yeah,
Because
for
we
like
were a
the
white
area
school,
you
white
live in.
community.
Yeah.
We were still kids. Of course, we had our idols, our pros, everybody that we loved and adored growing up. But as far as in our personal space life, these were probably the first black kids that we encountered. So we're in there. We just watched the termites get mopped. These kids are barking at us. I'm pretty sure that every kid on our team wanted to go home at that point. Okay. So we get out there, and it wasn't good. And it was a long time ago, Mike. Maybe 40 years, give or take. But I could recall the score because it was my very first game. We lost 53-0. And I remember because I was standing on the sideline. It was my first year. There was, the kids that were more athletic, kids that played termites. They were playing. And I mean, they were getting wiped. I've never seen kids run so fast. I was standing on a sideline watching the game, and these kids, when they would run by, they ran so fast, and you were amazed because you were used to Brian on the gym in gym class running the fastest in your school.
Yeah.
But compare him to any of these kids, these athletes in Aliquippa, that was nothing. So, you're just blown away. You're not even at this point. I know I certainly wasn't thinking about football. I'm thinking, don't put me in. Let me get out of here and go home so everything is okay. So they finally put me in at the end of the game. And I could remember because my dad was there. My dad came to watch the game, and I had my uniform, and it was all sharp and shiny and bright and clean. And I remember being there on the field. I was doing good. You get out there, and then you see, these guys right across from you. And you just lose your shit, and you're just thinking, okay, anything right now besides getting hurt. You know what I mean? Let this go any way besides me getting hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So I look up, see my dad's watching me, and these kids, they snap the ball. Mike, the next thing I remember was laying on my back, looking out of the ear hole in my helmet.
Oh man!
And all I see is these legs running real fast over top of me and by me and past me. And I remember thinking, fuck, I don't know if I'm gonna dig this football thing. It ended ultimately being okay. I did play for quite a few years after that, but this Aliquippa game, it really set the tone.
Yeah.
And it gave you an idea of where we stood as a football team and as a program at the little, Lily White High School that I went to.
Right.
And beyond that, we didn't have much success against many of the other teams as well. But that Aliquippa team, it was pure domination. Mm-hmm. Mike, I remember kids coming off that field with that look in their eyes, like, please don't let me go back in this game, please.
Yeah.
Because these kids were hardcore. They were physical. They were taught to play football, and they came from a long line of athletes who were amazing football players.
Yeah.
So that there's just this mindset. They come in there blowing us over.
Yeah.
And one other thing, I don't want to go on and on about this, but our quarterback, Dave, he was the quarterback. He, kind of not the toughest guy in the world, but I can remember one particular play, Mike, where he took off around the right end, and one of these Aliquippa kids got him around the sideline and picked him up and kind of did one of these wrestling moves right into the bench, right into our bench. He punctured his lung.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and then there was some other internal issues that was going on. That was it. Nobody, players, fans, parents, we all wanted out of there at that point, never to come back.
Yeah, these kids are already getting ready for the combine and ready to go.
They're looking to keep their 50-year streak alive when they get into high school.
Like I said, you don't want to be that team to lose, to have that record. You don't want to be that team. So they're like, we don't want to hear that shit for the rest of our life.
Yeah.
So we're going to take it out on everyone until we graduate.
And then they're yelling at us, like we're out on the field, and like you walk, you run by them, you jog
Yeah.
by in between, and they're yelling at you, and
Uh-huh.
it's something we weren't prepared for. I can tell
Yeah.
you that.
Yeah.
Especially like the kids like myself, it was their very first game ever.
Uh-huh.
The coaches could have did a way better job.
Yeah, preparing you for
preparing us for
hey,
this.
this is how football teams interact with each other. They yell at each other. They say comments. They bark. They, you try to get into the heads
Yeah,
of the other.
and we're literally running 3 plays. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yep. Run
Beginning
to
of
the
the
left. Run
season.
to the right.
Yeah.
Slant. Yep.
And we didn't even have the passes. I mean, it didn't play like that. The line wasn't
Yeah.
good enough to hold anybody for more than a
Uh-huh.
second. But yes, everybody, tonight 7:00. If you get the opportunity, check this game out, especially here in Pennsylvania. It is on the PCN network. 7:00. Aliquippa 13-0, number 1 in the state against number 2 Bishop McDevitt, who is 12-1. It looks like Aliquippa might have the advantage because they showed the strength of schedule in the column as well, and it looked like Aliquippa's schedule was a lot tougher
Yeah.
than Bishop McDevitt. So maybe Aliquippa, despite the size difference, will still have some kind of advantage and could go over there and bring back the back-to-back state medal, man.
I hope they do. Like I said, man, there's like I'm not from like Western PA, but I'm from the area, close enough to the area to where I kind of know these teams, and just like following the story of Aliquippa and seeing like all the great players who have come out of there, and just like knowing that area, if you can't bring yourself to root for these kids, there's something. I'm sorry, there's something wrong with you.
Absolutely.
Because
like I said,
this
I
is like
absolutely
the world, to them. This is shit, man. This is their ticket out.
And why not get behind them as the
get
county's
behind them,
team?
support
Everybody
them, man.
around here, we went to school with these kids. We grew up with these people.
Yeah.
They're in our communities. They become friends. They become family.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why people can't get aboard, but I do. I love this time of year. I love watching Aliquippa and just seeing the battle they could put up against the best players, on any level that they could play.
Like great offenses, great defenses. They're fun to watch.
They really are, man. They really are. So let's bring that gold home tonight, guys. Mike, big news today.
Yes.
Brittney Griner is released. The problem that I had most with this, Mike, wasn't the fact that she got convicted. It wasn't the fact that she was accused. She was, breaking their law, their drug laws. The part that really messed with me is the way that she was used as a political pawn.
Mm-hmm.
That's the part that bugs me the most. That's the part that is why I wanted her home.
Yeah.
Like I said, she broke the law. She had to pay the consequences. Yeah. That's fine. But the fact that they used her as a political pawn was my issue the whole time. I thought that sucked. And you know what? All the way through to the end, till to the arms dealer, Mike, that they had a release in order to get her out and coming home, which she is. She's on her way home now, and she's doing fine. But it just sucks. Like I said, you're giving up an arms dealer, Russian arms dealer that got busted here in our country and was in our prison system because of such. So that's the one thing that I dislike about this whole situation. Otherwise, I'm glad. Bring her home. I was gonna
say. Oh, I'm sorry.
And whether they pursue any kind of punishment, keep her in the system, I don't know how that will play out.
I don't think they will. I don't think they will. I think they're just gonna let her come back and resume her life.
And you know what? Good for her. Like I said, it just sucks because she was being used as a political pawn.
Oh yeah.
So I'm fine with her coming home. I'm fine with her, getting back to her life, getting back to basketball. And I'm sure there's going to be an amazing book for us to read because I'll be very curious.
Oh, I'll read that.
To see the ways that they, they treated her, what they did with her, and just some of the things you hear, just to be able to dive in and read, her opinion and the way she's seen through her eyes, I think would be a pretty amazing book. So I certainly will be reading that if that ever comes to fruition.
And I want to touch base on some things here because I've seen a lot of people going, yeah, we got her, we got the basketball player, but we didn't get the former Marine Paul Whelan. Well, the current administration, they tried to do a 2-for-1 swap, get Griner back, get Whalen back for the arms dealer. That was a no-go from the beginning. So they tried a 2-for-2 swap. that was a no-go. So it was like, all right, let's get the one American that we can get out. And that's what every nation has done throughout history is another country has one of our people. We're going to do what we can to get them back. So we got
Yeah.
the one back, trying to work on the other. This guy's family, I just want to find the direct quote here from the family. If you give me a minute. Oh my God. I can't find it. But they were along the same lines of, here we go. Oh shoot. I can't find it now. Yeah, but they were supportive of her coming back. They
Yeah.
understand the situation. Um, Wayland himself, he's disappointed. He's thinking more hasn't been done to get him, but everyone understands that you have to get back who you can get back.
Yeah.
And he saw, and he was, she got arrested on drug charges. He got arrested on espionage charges. So you understand, like, okay, they're going to play hardball with someone they think did espionage, but who probably did not.
Yeah.
And once again, both political pawns, but you have to, anytime an American comes back, it's a good thing. Anytime, even if you're, say you live in Germany and, someone steals, kidnaps a German citizen, they're going to be happy that they got them back. So every country should be happy when one of their own citizens comes back, regardless of their political beliefs, your political beliefs, because you're bringing home someone. You're seeing your country do something that you would hope they would do for you.
Yeah.
And there's, this article, couple articles I read, there's a lot of back channel stuff going on that, they are trying to get everyone back who's being held. It's just you have to make the deal that's there.
Yeah, Mike. I'm happy. I'm happy for welcome home. I was pulling free the whole time. One other thing that kind of stems off this story, Mike. It's not related, but it's about Russia. One headline I did see this morning: Russia's army is running out of ammunition, Mike. I tell you what, this Ukraine war wasn't exactly what they thought it was going to be in
No,
Russia.
no.
Um,
Russia
you
thought
know,
they would be able to steamroll them, and I think I was talking to you earlier today. Like how like that first month of the war, Russia was they were having to dig out weapons from like the 70s and 80s,
yeah.
and even back into like the 50s and 60s to use stuff. They didn't have actual military transports. They're just using whatever vehicle they had around. So that myth of the Russian military is not what it was.
I think the Russian military is probably pretty mighty in the sense that if they ever really went to a war, a war that where it's going to get down to the heavy duty artillery, I think that they're pretty strong, and I think that they could probably do a lot of damage. And are they as strong as we are? No, they're not. But I think they're certainly stronger than we're seeing between this border war, ground
No.
war, ammunition, running out of ammunition. If it comes down to the stuff where you're pushing buttons and blowing, I think they would do a lot, be a lot more of a threat. But that it just, I don't know. This way of war is almost outdated.
They're getting their ass kicked, man. Their troops, a lot of them don't want to fight because they don't think they should be there. Their artillery is not doing as much damage as they thought. Their tanks are, like Ukraine was stealing their tanks because their tanks were running out of gas. They've been planning this invasion for a long ass time. It started with the annex of Crimea. So they've been planning this for years now, and this is what they have. It is like they are like a paper tiger. They may have like, oh, we can have this amount of troops, this amount of equipment. Yeah, you have the numbers game, but if the numbers don't work, what you have doesn't work, you're getting your ass whooped. And we're seeing what art because a lot of our technology, Germans technology, all the NATO countries pitching in with military equipment for Ukraine and what they're doing against the Russian military. They're getting smoked.
Let me ask you this: where is the United Nations? Where is NATO? Why is these war crimes and other such that Putin is responsible for and Russia's responsible for? Why is shouldn't these organizations somehow be able to step in and do something?
Well,
I
right
mean,
now,
what is their purpose if they can't do anything? I mean, like I said, Russia basically come over. They just said we're going to start a war with you. We're going to do whatever we want. Luckily, by the graces of whatever, Ukraine is able to hang in there with these guys. But where are these countries that are neutral that that are there to diffuse situations
well,
between
for
countries?
right now, NATO. Well, Ukraine's not a part of NATO yet, so NATO officially really can't send troops, but we can send aid. Remember, U.S. when Ukraine had the world's third largest nuclear arsenal at the fall of the Soviet Union. And while the U.S. didn't want them to have the nukes, newly formed Russia did not want them to have the nukes, so Ukraine gave them up, and they signed a binding agreement between all three nations that if they were ever attacked by anyone, if the U.S. attacks Ukraine or the Russia attacks Ukraine or a third party attacks Ukraine, the others too will come to their aid. So that's why the U.S. That's why we're giving them military equipment. NATO nations are it's an alliance to fight against Russia. Even though Ukraine's not officially part of NATO, I don't believe they're still fulfilling their obligation to the spirit of the treaty. They're helping out this country that is in war with Russia. Now, if those countries were to openly declare war with Russia, that opens up everything with NATO, and Russia has veto power in the United Nations because they were one of the big three after World War II when it was founded. So if the UN tries to do anything to sanction Russia or anything like that, I believe Russia can use their veto power, so it's moot right there. So the UN's kind of like their hands are tied in this, but the NATO nations that are all allied together, they are funneling resources into Ukraine to help fight Russia, which is why NATO was formed as a buffer against the Soviet expansion. And then, once the Soviet Union fell, it's still a buffer for these European nations.
I mean, what good are they if, like you said, Russia's one of the big three and they have veto power? So I mean, it's basically again comes down to politics because if Russia would do something, which they are, they can't step in because Russia is one of the
United Nations, that body itself really couldn't do anything, but that doesn't prohibit other nations, even nations that are a part of the UN, to do what they have to do.
yeah.
It just won't be like the UN. It would be yeah, it's
And one of the other things
international politics and all that is so murky, and yeah, I am not nowhere near an expert to speak about it.
well, like we were saying with Russia, and I kind of said that they're probably a little stronger than we think. It just almost seems like we're it's they're a victim of the times because in war this would have been a different war 20 years ago, but now there's so much more to war. A lot of times you don't have to leave the base. You could push buttons, you could control drones, you could do all this stuff. So it almost seems like the more advanced countries with military wise, they're at a disadvantage when they go to fight a country that isn't as advanced because look at what happened in the mountainous rugged terrain in Afghanistan with the greatest military in the world. We have things that could do things you can't even imagine, but there's 17 guys in a mountain with anti-aircraft missiles over their shoulder, and it took us 10 years to even so that's what I'm saying. It almost seems like they're a victim of the time. They're almost too good of a military to fight in this older style war, just like we were. That should have been not as long as it took in Afghanistan. I really feel that our military against what we were going against shouldn't have took 10 years. And I feel that it's kind of in the same boat. If Russia would be in a different kind of war, it would be a different story. You don't think?
No, I don't think no. Russia's they're getting their asses handed to them, even in conventional
Some people
warfare.
would say that we were losing at some point in Afghanistan.
Well, we were, we it's Afghanistan. Like the Taliban wasn't like a whole army and stuff. We weren't fighting,
Exactly.
but
That's what I'm
now, but
saying.
Ukraine has an army, and like the citizens join the army, so they're fighting. This is two armies going at it, and
Yeah.
the Ukraine army, with the resources being supplied by NATO in the West, it's just kicking Russia's ass,
Like
and Ukraine is outnumbered like manpower against Russia, and they are just whooping their asses, holding their own. They're retaking territory. Russia has been proven that they are nothing. Like if their army was so good, why is like Putin's health failing? Because this war is not going the way they thought it was. Yeah, they thought they would be able to sweep through Ukraine within like a month, if that, and they have bitten their asses handed to them.
Not real familiar with Putin's health, but I do know, like I said,
he's getting frail and fragile. He fell down the steps and pooped himself.
Our president falls down the steps every day. Every time I see him get on an Air Force One,
no, he doesn't. He slipped once running up the steps.
Yeah.
The previous president couldn't walk down the ramp.
I don't even remember who the last president was. All I know right now is this president falls down the steps all the time.
So we can frail.
It's scary. I'm not going to go there, but listen, I think that
we can frail and
you know what? This president that we have now is the weakest, frailest, dumbest president we've ever had.
Is running ever. Biking. This dude is he's jacked. He's working out every day.
It's funny because every time I see him, he's either falling or sniffing somebody. So I don't know. Maybe we're watching.
Oh, just because let me go find the conservative stupid stuff.
Whatever you're talking about, I don't really know. But all I do know is I've seen many ample videos of him sniffing children. Again, you're a Penn State fan.
Hey! You know the last guy that you voted for was actually raping little kids on Epstein's Island. So
nobody knows who I voted for last, and you know that I am.
You told me.
I might have been telling you tales because I don't even remember the last person I voted for. But I'm an independent. I'm very independent,
but yet conservative leaning. And it's always coincidence with people who say I'm independent, but yet all their ideals line up with the right.
I don't agree with you. I don't agree. I think that there's a lot of people that are on the right that would have that would disagree with a lot of what I say.
Actually, yeah, there is, because you are all over the place now. You freak me out, man. I don't like it. You're like a fucking puma. You're all over the place.
A puma.
I shouldn't drink. I'm just yapping off my ass.
But
it's been a long day, people.
But all I gotta say is I just noticed, and it kind of disturbed me while we were in a situation in Afghanistan. We were blowing the shit out of everything, and there was 30 guys that were standing around, looked like my mom just got out of the bathtub with robes and towels on their head, and they were able to give us a run for our money.
Well, like even there too, like you look at that whole region going back throughout history. They kicked our ass there for a long time. They kicked Russia's ass. They kicked, Alexander the Great had the hardest time in that region. It's like the geography, the fighter, like the people live. They're hard because everyone keeps trying to take over their land for generation after generation throughout history. Fought. So you're like, no, man. They look at anyone who's not from there like suspiciously, and I don't blame them because everyone tries to kick their ass, and they like, no, we got to whoop your ass. We got to keep teaching.
And they do, and they have to keep fighting and defending and fighting, and they never get the opportunity not to be fighting.
You know who trained them?
Yeah,
Rambo
CIA.
trained them. John Rambo trained them because they were the Mujahideen fighting against the communist Russia.
Mike, just going back a little bit. I got to break this political chain here. Real quick, back into high school football, just for 2 seconds before we move on, because I did forget to mention this is something that just came out yesterday, Mike. I'd seen PIAA. Now that's the Pennsylvania Organization for Sports, opposed to WPIAL. Now PIAA approved a policy, Mike, for students, athletes to make money off of name, image, and likeness.
I kind of heard something like someone said something that about at work. I heard one of the guys saying, the one girl, she's like, yeah, she's like, I hurt my hip playing, softball or whatever. And, if I would have had the chance to make money doing that, that would have helped me in the long run. Because you figure like a lot of these kids that have good scholarships and then they get hurt and they can't recover. Shit, yeah, man, let them earn money. Why is it, athletes are punished when it comes to earning money at any age, but yet, you can start working at like 16?
Yeah.
Why can't a 16-year-old who's playing sports that's very good at it, that people are using to make money, why can't those kids get the money?
I don't know. I think there's probably going to be inclusion issues with that. Somebody that's, it might be a little slow, a little lopsided, a little awkward. Well, why can't little Jimmy? Why don't little Jimmy have an opportunity to do this as well? Because
Fuck little Jimmy.
Because he's disabled and
see now, damn it! Now I feel bad.
But that's what I'm saying.
We
This
made the hypothetical disabled. I'm
just saying these are things that you would deal with.
People will try that, yeah, but I think for the most part, people are going to understand. But what I'm worried about is, like, is this going to open up people wanting to like move out of areas to go play? I hope, like, a place like Aliquippa. Just looking at I swear if you pull up like the income levels, it's an impoverished area. What would that do to them? Or is someone gonna try to lure these kids away with this money and then try and take advantage of them? Or hopefully, people invest into this school, into the athletes to keep them there and help keep that program going and help the community grow. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. Schools like that people will try to exploit.
Yeah, but
it's going to happen if these kids can make the money, I have no problem with that. I have no problem with them making money. I just hope it's more regulated and more controlled than it is in college. Because at college, you're all adults at that point. We're dealing with kids.
Yeah, I think that would be part of the issue, Mike, because it happens now. You see some of these other kids that, let's say this quarterback from Beaver Falls, he's all that, and the Beaver Falls football team isn't all that good. Now you could see him ending up, playing quarterback for Aliquippa. I'm not real sure what the details are, but about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago, something like that was going on, and it was an issue here. And that was the thing. He didn't want to play for this team that stunk. He wanted recognition, and he wanted people to see him because he was, they were winning.
Yeah.
So of course it's going to happen when there's money involved.
Yeah.
I'm mixed on it. I think it's a good thing because I've always felt that college they should have been able to rake in money. The college is making gazillion dollars off these people. And they're not able to get any money. That's ridiculous. They should get money. Again, once you're involving kids, you have to look at things differently. You have to, because again, there's going to be feathers that are ruffled. So it would be, it's set, Mike. It's approved policy. So
I'm all for it. Just you just can't let it get way out of hand, because like when you play sports, you don't have time to get a job.
Yeah.
And if if the schools are using your likeness, your image to make money, to drive people to the stadium, why shouldn't you get a percentage of that?
No, I agree.
I think for high school, it should be capped. Like, everyone's going to make the same amount or close to the same amount.
I just think that you got to sit down. You have to sit around with a bunch of smart people who's involved with schools, the district,
way smarter than us.
Absolutely, and attorneys, because like I said, things are going to come up. You got to sit down with people who know what they're talking about and come up with a system. But hopefully it works out for those kids.
Yes.
Mike, we have something big, Mike, something huge. 3 days from now, Sunday, 1:00 p.m. Mike, this game is looking like it is going to be something special, hopefully for Pittsburgh. Lamar Jackson is still not participating. They are not expecting him to play. Tyler Huntley will be playing at quarterback. The Steelers are preparing for him. Mike, this is the 32nd meeting between Mike Tomlin and Jim Harbaugh. The Steelers, Mike Tomlin has the advantage 17-14 over Harbaugh.
Wow.
And Mike, this is the only set of coaches that have met more often. There's only one set of coaches, that met more often than these two in their tenures, and it was George Halas and Curly Lambeau for 49.
Wow.
49 meetings. These guys are in second place at 32. It's going to be classic.
I can see them matching that record.
You know what I can too? And here's the thing, Miles Jack. You know what Miles Jack said? He goes, I used to think that they talk this rivalry up too, for ratings and he goes, there is no talking it up. There's bad blood in this locker room. They do not like the guys in Baltimore. The guys in Baltimore do not like the guys in Pittsburgh. Mike, I love this game. One of my favorite games of the year, and especially if you win, that feeling you have for a week.
Yeah,
for a week, and especially everything that's up for grabs. We could move closer to the first place. We can move closer to a playoff spot. This game, I'm ready to lose my mind.
Me too. And it's Ravens week, man. Coach Tomlin's at his press conference. When he says Ravens week, His voice sounds different. He has that look in his eye, that little smile, because he knows what's going to happen. It is Ravens. In these games, you can have one team be so much better than the other, yet somehow they are one of the hardest fought games.
And you're going to see that
last possession.
You're going to see that with the lack of Lamar Jackson. And let me tell you something. You've seen a 10-9 final score last week against Denver with these Baltimore Ravens without Lamar. It's not going to be 10-9. It's going to be close. Don't get me wrong.
It's going to be close.
But they know how to play us. We know how to play them. Like you said, there's been times when Ben wasn't available. There's been times when it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. These two teams get together on Sunday at the field. It's always a great game. Yes. I don't care who you are, what team your city is. I don't care. If you sit down and watch this game, it's classic AFC North, hard nose.
Yep.
Punch you in the mouth football. And as a football fan, you got to love that.
You have to, and I'm sorry, you can take that silly Bears Packers rivalry. You can
that hasn't been significant.
To quote The Rock
years.
from back in the day, you can shine that sumbitch up, turn that sumbitch sideways, stick it straight up your Rudy Poo candy ass, because this is the rivalry that has defined
here's the thing.
The NFL for the past 20 years.
Anybody who's any rivalry that existed when nobody that's alive right now was alive when it was going on shouldn't exist. Listen, that was 60 years ago. You figure the NFL and the AFL merger was 50 years ago, Mike.
Yeah, there's like 8 teams playing.
Yeah, no wonder somebody had to be good. But Chicago, you're right. I couldn't agree more. Let them enjoy their rivalry, but it pales in comparison compared to what is going on in the AFC
this
North.
One, like ever since they came into the league, because it carried over from they were the Browns and then they turned into the Ravens, and it's carried over since then, and it's grown. It's become something more.
Yeah.
Because now these two teams were always fighting for the AFC North crown. They were fighting to see who can win more Super Bowls in their era. So, and they're both tied at two apiece. And, the AFC North runs through Pittsburgh or runs through Baltimore.
Yeah.
Very rarely does it run through Cleveland or Cincinnati now.
It hasn't ran through Cincinnati since 1989.
I know they got lucky last
Cleveland.
year. Yeah, so so it's these are the. My God, look at the names associated with this rivalry. It's like a who's who of best players in the past 20 years, 30 years, or however long Baltimore has been there. It's just. It's Ravens week. How can you not be excited? I don't care who's playing. I don't care that we're going to have Tyler Huntley versus Kenny Pickett. Not exactly Joe Flacco versus Ben Roethlisberger. Not exactly
I think you're giving
Ray Rice versus Troy Polamalu. We don't have little Dan Kreider trying to block Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis going, why you take me out of the middle? Because you take me out of the middle, you know what's going to happen. Why do I have to go up against Alan Faneca and Dan Kreider? All these badasses going up against each other who hated each other, but yet respected each other. That's why this rivalry, to me, is the best in the NFL. They hate each other, but they respect each other at the same time.
Absolutely.
Whereas, the Packers, they look at the Bears like they're an afterthought. No, how can you get up for that game?
Right.
New England, who's their rival? No one, because they beat everyone except for the Giants in the Super Bowl. No rivalry in sports.
And you can't even call
compares to this
a cross-conference thing a rivalry because you played twice in the Super Bowl. I mean, that could be any
division rivals, man, twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year.
Look at this, Mike. If I could find it.
Sound like me now. Hold on, let me scroll and read.
I don't know what the hell I did with it. I don't know. It's around there somewhere.
Because I don't.
Oh, okay, here it is. The Steelers have 89 all-time victories against the AFC North. It's the most of any divisional team over their opponent. 89 divisional wins, Mike.
We were the Kings for so long.
Yeah. Going back, I have some information here I want to get out to everybody. You did mention the Pickett and Huntley matchup. Only 2 quarterbacks have thrown 0 interceptions with at least 120 pass attempts over the last 4 weeks. That would be Kenny Pickett and Jared Goff. Now, obviously, we'd go the Kenny Pickett direction, but you know what? That Jared Goff, he's really doing some amazing things up there in Detroit. I was looking at his numbers.
Yeah.
He has like more touchdowns than this quarterback. He has more attempts, and they're all the greats. You know, your Mahomes, your Brady, everybody down through the line. And Goff he's outperforming all these guys. So watch Detroit, and we talked about them quite often this season. I think they're just a piece or two from being that team in that NFC North.
I believe so too. And oh god, I still can't believe they traded their tight end to
what was that
to Minnesota. But now I saw like on the betting line, Detroit is at one point I saw they were a favorite over Minnesota, which is wild.
Yeah,
but you know, like
to see them as a favorite over anybody.
Yeah, I think a lot of like early in the season, they just didn't know how to win yet on offense or defense, but now they're slowly learning. Like Dan Campbell's a whack job. He's like that kind of guy that if he was like my coach or my boss,
like wrestler.
I would tune the fuck out because that type of motivation does nothing for me. I think it's cartoonish and silly. Like I'm an adult, tell me what you need to do, let's do it. But hey, it's working for them.
Absolutely,
they're buying into it. So fuck yeah, keep being that crazy bastard. And it's slowly coming around for him, and it's kind of exciting to watch.
Mike, also a couple of things that we did learn over the past couple of days, stat-wise, the the Steelers, they were the first team to 500 wins. We talked about that a little bit yesterday.
Woo-hoo.
It was over the period of 3 coaches. Let me give you some numbers, Mike. I'm a numbers guy. I love numbers. The 3 coaches over that period of time to get 500 wins. Chuck Noll, 193. 148 and 1, 193, 148 and 1. Mike Tomlin, 158, 92 and 2. Mike Tomlin again was 158, 92 and 2 so far. And Bill Cowher was 149, 90 and 1. So between these 3 guys, Mike, 500 wins. You really can't in pro sports ask for a better situation. I mean, coaching wise and unbelievable.
And you look at their records and you know, it shows that they all had like mid to bad years for the most, or Tomlin's just had mid years, like years they underperformed. But this shows stability of like, hey, we know where there's going to be highs. We know there's going to be lows, but we're trusting you to have more highs than lows. And it's worked. This is why, the Steelers don't panic. This is why I would always laugh back in the day, like when, Cowher's on the hot seat. Well, Mike Tomlin's on the hot seat.
Yeah, no, they're not going anywhere. You will know it if they're going to be on the hot seat, believe me.
Yeah, like if they win 3 games a year, right. and there's like no signs of improvement anywhere. And
you just see
Brittney
terrible
family, like they do things a certain way. Yes, they're starting to shake trends on a lot of things, which is good. But I think coaching stability plays a lot into it.
My couple other numbers I do want to get out. 4 games. The past 4 games, we have no turnovers. Now, those 4 games are the longest Steelers streak without a turnover since 1939. I read this. I couldn't believe my eyes. I posted it on our Facebook page. People couldn't believe their eyes. Unbelievable. They're saying up in arms. But you know what? Go back, check it out. It is fact.
Well, when you have the gunslinger in Bradshaw, gunslinger in Ben, it's going to happen when you have scaredy cats in Trubisky and Kenny. Got to play it and say, no, I threw them both under the bus. They're probably both being told, hey, play smart football. Don't give it up.
Absolutely.
Whereas the other two, you saw, they had the ability to lead the team back to victory.
After time, of course.
Any chance to shit on Kenny,
I know. That's why I shouldn't even. That's why I don't even talk to you.
Shtick. I have to. I like Kenny can win like 8 Super Bowls in a row, and I will find the smallest thing to pick on him for.
Pro Bowl voting, Mike. Pro Bowl voting. Minka is the number 1
overrated safety, most overrated safety.
The number 1 voted for safety. Minka Fitzpatrick. Alex Highsmith. Alex Highsmith is sitting at the fourth most at his linebacker position.
I agree. I actually agree with that.
Pat Freiermuth, number 6 in the tight ends, which I think he should be higher.
He should be higher, but name recognition. in a couple of years he'll be up there.
Do you want to hear name recognition? Do you want to hear yourself be proven right, Mike? The next one,
Deontay Johnson,
sitting at number 6 at his position, Derek Watt. Derek Watt is sitting in the 6th spot for voting.
I see. When we got him, he was supposed to be this special teams demon, and all I've seen him do is carry the ball a couple times in the past couple games to get some yards. I've yet to see him do anything spectacular on special teams. I remember like one tackle that he made.
So, I want to correct.
If his last name wasn't Watt, I'm sorry, he would not
absolutely wouldn't be on his team.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Let me go into Muth a little bit, Mike. Muth, I got a little bit some specs on Muth. He has 50 catches, Mike. 50 catches, which is fourth. 597 yards, which is fourth. 164 yards after contact, which is third. 8 contested catches, which is third. 10 missed forced tackles, which is fourth, and 570 plus yard games, which is second for tight ends. I'm telling you, Mike, this guy is going to be, will be the tight end for the Steelers when it's all said and done. Talk about Heath, rightfully so. Talk about Randy Grossman, whoever you want to talk about. This guy right here will be, when it's all said and done, the best tight end in Pittsburgh Steelers history.
He will. He's going to be one of the better tight ends in the NFL. He already is, just by looking at those stats right there. His problem is he wasn't taken in the first round, and he was drafted by Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh, historically has not used the tight end a lot in the passing game. Yeah. So that's going to take. You have to fight those like stereotypes, but you also look in the AFCs, like some of the tight ends that you have name recognition. Travis Kelce, Waller out in Oakland. There's a lot of good tight ends in the AFC that he has to fight with that have name recognition that have been there for a while. I think next year he's going to be the one that he will be talked about more and more, and we'll see him higher up in those vote totals.
Absolutely.
Because that's like the fan, like the average fan out. You don't know like who a lot of these players are unless you do a lot of fantasy football. And if you don't have a lot of fantasy football stats, people aren't going to think you're that good unless, you go and look to see how you're actually ranking in the actual categories.
Absolutely.
But a lot of people
go by once the media grabs a hold of his name and starts doing what they do, believe me, he's got great things coming. One more Pittsburgh Steelers thing, Mike, we do have to move on. The Steelers did rank third as most popular franchises in America, in North America. The Pittsburgh Penguins, they are the most popular hockey franchise in North America. And the Pittsburgh Pirates, they are sitting at 23 in their respective sport. 23. So
who are the teams that finished below the Pirates?
I don't know.
What is wrong with them?
Probably the Marlins, but they'll win a World Series next year.
God, I think the Marlins have won 2 since they've been founded.
Two real quick sports, non-football related stories. Well, football, this one is here. Hines Ward's San Antonio football team in the XFL, Mike, they are black and gold. I saw the uniforms yesterday, mostly yellow, but it is a black and gold color scheme.
I wonder if he told them, hey, you need to change this shit up.
Hines, he's always been loyal. He's been loyal. LeVar Arrington, Mike, from Penn State, he has went to the Big Ten College Hall of Fame over the past couple of days.
Yes.
LeVar Arrington, one of the most entertaining linebackers I can recall watching in college.
Yeah. That era when, oh my God, when you had him
Courtney
and Courtney Brown on the same defense, Brandon Short in the middle, who had a pretty decent NFL career as well.
Yeah.
Like that defense was just amazing. I remember with the 1 year they played against Miami, and I don't know if you remember him on Dan Morgan. He was Miami's. Like people were asking LeVar Arrington about him. He doesn't watch game film on. You ask a defensive player to talk about another defensive player. He's like, I don't know who he is. Who's Dan Morgan? And it became this whole spiel.
Right.
And then LeVar Arrington outperformed him the entire game. Dan Morgan had like one play, and the announcer was like, "Oh, who's Dan Morgan?" Like the dude with one tackle, and LeVar's taking over the entire game.
The one thing that I remember about LeVar was the way he messed with the punters.
That was fucking beautiful. It was legal. It was legal. They ate in the fucking.
That's when I knew that I love this guy.
Flag. They always threw a flag when they played Pitt. He'd beat up the Pitt punter, and there'd be flags.
He beat up every punter. What are you talking about? That was the only reason I watched Penn State, because he was beating punters up every week.
Hey man, you take those 3 steps, you're a legal man.
Aaron Judge resigned to a 9-year, $360 million contract with the New York Yankees.
He turned down the Pirates' offer of 10 years, $15 million total, and 4 bags of peanuts. I don't know why he turned it down.
Peanuts would have had me.
Me too. And I hate peanuts.
That is our sports. Let's go over and crack into today's
the news.
Mike, PA state trooper charged with a DUI while on duty.
If he was from Western PA, I would understand it because y'all motherfuckers be drinking a lot. He's just trying to fit in. He's trying to assimilate with the local inhabitants to get to know the community outreach.
Yeah, no, I don't get it.
No, come on now. How are you going to be arresting people when you're fucking drunk? Get the hell out of here.
That's what I'm saying. Come on.
Know better. Come on. You should know better.
Joey Chestnut loses a shrimp cocktail eating contest. Mike, this guy just does not stop. He goes all year long with these contests. Obviously, most people know him from 4th of July's hot dog eating contest, but this is probably the third one that I've seen this year that I've noticed.
Yeah,
he snapped the streak, Mike. He snapped his winning streak in a shrimp cocktail eating contest.
It was a good day for America. We're bringing one of our own back, and then fucking Joey Chestnut has to fucking ruin it.
Yeah.
I'm going to boo him next 4th of July.
Maybe a disgrace to your country.
He's going to make me boo. I'm turning my back on you, Joey Chestnut.
Yeah, who boos somebody on 4th of July?
I am now. Fuck you, Joey Chestnut.
Atlanta Hawks announcer, 68 years old. Did you see this? He loses consciousness on court while him and his co-worker, they're on the court doing the announcement. No. The one guy is talking. He turns it over to the other guy. About 5 seconds later, he starts doing like this. And he starts shaking it, and he's back like this. And you see somebody's arm come in the screen to try to
Yeah.
But he was totally ended up being treated for dehydration, Mike. Dehydration.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Man,
dehydration. It was awkward.
No
it was hard to watch.
Yeah.
It was hard, to see somebody going through
especially like that age. You're like, oh my god, is he having a stroke? Is he having a heart attack?
68 years old. It could have been curtains,
Damn.
Finally, Mike, McDonald's McDoubles for the next 2 days, 50 cents when ordered on the app and picked up. Yes, for the next 2 days, you could go to any McDonald's, order on the app to pick them up, and you get 50-cent McDoubles, which are, I don't know, roughly about $2, give or take right now.
That's like today and tomorrow. Tomorrow is my birthday. Guess what I'm having for birthday lunch?
You don't even
2 McDoubles that I'm going to have a fucking heart attack on air, boys.
Yes, we have to beat out that guy, the guy in Atlanta.
Right? He's 68 years old, dehydration. Okay. Well, look at this fat fuck dying from eating McDonald's. I don't think I'm going to garner much sympathy.
Mike, but that today was today's quick lineup of
the news.
Before we get to the question of the day, before we get to how well do we know our enemies, which is obviously, if this is Ravens week, so it'll be a Ravens question. But we do have one more game. We have a game tonight in the NFL. It is the Raiders versus the Rams, the Battle of Los Angeles. And these teams are both really bad. But you know what? I'm looking forward to this game tonight on Thursday Night Football between the Raiders and the Rams in LA is to see how good the Raiders really are, to watch the Raiders, to get an idea of the Raiders, because we play them in the next few weeks here in our run to try to get back in this thing. So I will be paying special attention to the Raiders just to kind of see what they're doing, see where we stand amongst that kind of stuff. But flipping back between the Aliquippa game, which starts at 7, in the NFL game at 8 is what I'll be doing. Like I said, mainly watching the Raiders in the NFL game, but I'm super excited about this high school football game between Aliquippa and Bishop McDevitt. That's a hard thing to say. It doesn't roll off the tongue.
For you to say, Jesus,
McDevitt,
because I would say McDavid for Connor McDavid.
I don't want to say that, but it certainly doesn't roll off your tongue.
It does not. I mean? No.
It's not one of them teams you can just keep. Every time I say it, I literally have to look over at it. Mike, are you ready to do some trivia, brother?
I am ready.
All right, I think you're going to do pretty well today. This, of course, is a Baltimore Ravens trivia. There's only going to be one more than this week, and then we will have a whole nother week, a couple of weeks down the road of Ravens trivia. So let's get at it.
Let's do this.
All right, here we go, everybody. Play at home. Speaking of playing at home, where's P been? He was on my ass all month long last month about this soccer tournament. This guy's covering soccer, and now
yes, one time.
all right. Damn it! Now we talk about soccer. I haven't seen P in a week. All right, here we go, Mike.
He's a busy man. He's a busy man.
All right, I'll give him that. Here's the question of the day. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, here we go. Which Ravens quarterback was the youngest quarterback in NFL history to start a playoff game? And I am going to give you choices. Which Ravens quarterback was the youngest quarterback in the NFL history to start a playoff game? Was it A, Trent Dilfer? Was it B, Lamar Jackson? Was it C, Joe Flacco? Or was it D, Tony Banks? Again, which Ravens quarterback was the youngest quarterback in NFL history to start a playoff game? Trent Dilfer, Lamar Jackson, Joe Flacco, and Tony Banks. And go.
Ooh, I have it narrowed down to 2.
Who are you thinking?
Not Trent Dilfer, because I don't ever remember Trent Dilfer being young. I always remember him being old.
You know,
like Morgan Freeman. I don't ever remember Morgan Freeman not being like.
He was old when he was young.
Yeah.
Trent Dilfer, he was young when he played for Tampa Bay before he became the Raven and did the Super Bowl thing, and that's when I recall him being young.
Yeah, like I know Flacco was real young, but I know he transferred. He had to sit out a year. No, he didn't have to because he went to D2 from D1. He went from Pitt to Delaware,
Pitt,
right?
The Vermont, the Delaware, the Rhode Island, something crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, so you're
I'm gonna go with Lamar
Jackson. Let me read it one more time just to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Him and Flacco.
Which Ravens quarterback was the youngest quarterback in NFL history to start a playoff game? Trent Dilfer, Lamar Jackson, Joe Flacco, and Tony Banks. You said it's either between Jackson or Flacco.
Yeah.
And you're leaning toward Flacco?
No, I'm taking Lamar.
Lamar? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me lock you in on Lamar.
Lock it in.
All right, locked in. The quarterback that was the youngest in history to start a playoff football game, Mike, it was not Joe Flacco.
It was not Joe Flacco. I got that going for me, which is nice. If it's Tony fucking Banks, I'm going to fucking kill someone.
And the answer is Lamar Jackson. Right. Very good, Mike. You nailed that one. Hook, line, and sinker. There was no shaking you. There's
none whatsoever.
None whatsoever. But hey, everybody, tomorrow's Friday. We're getting closer to the weekend. We'll be back to do it. Mike, why don't you tell everybody about the website?
2dumyinzers.com. Head on over there. We have links to YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, the 3 main apps where you can find us. What else do we have? Links to the merchandise store, links to Facebook, Insta, Twitters, email, everything you need at 2dumyinzers.com.
There you have it, everybody. Continue to check us out here, right here. We are live every day, Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. We appreciate each and every one of you greatly. Mike, do you have anything before we take off today?
USA. I don't know.
There you go. I don't know where that came from, but you know what?
Hey, it's a cheap pop, a cheap applause. You just chant whatever country you're in. You're good to go.
I like it. And you don't want to forget everybody tonight in Pennsylvania. I think that you could watch it out of state on the internet. But here on PCN at 7:00 p.m. Big high school football game, which is big here in the Western Pennsylvania area. Let's go Aliquippa beat Bishop McDevitt.
Yes. Let's go.
I don't know if I'm ever going to get that.
No, you're not. You're the worst at
pronouncing. That's the hardest name ever.
That's why I'm letting you say it, not me.
But hey,
I may be dumb, but I ain't stupid.
Go Quip. We are all behind you here at the 2 Dum Yinzers. Bring home that gold, baby. For Mike, Ryan, the 2 Dum Yinzers, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.